Hey, buddy.
Hey, Gay.
How's
How's it going?
You good?
Yeah. Sorry, just
Nice.
connecting. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
How you doing?
cool. Yeah, man, I'm hanging in there, doing all right.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, you too. Uh, you ready to talk China?
China.
China.
Let's do
China.
it.
Yeah. Um, so this was back in 2014, in
Our
December.
second trip, right?
It was our second trip, yeah. It was the end of November, 2014.
So
We had
probably a
just,
year, almost a year since what? Peru?
yeah, pretty much exactly a year, I think. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we had, just under a year. So we finished tour is we were going into another layoff. It seemed to line up really nice with how we were with how our travel schedule lined up. But we finished. I'm pretty sure it was shows in, I think it was Rockford or something like that.
Rockford, Illinois.
Rockford, Illinois. We were able to drive. We were able to drive to Chicago because you stayed with me. We had two other guys that came with us.
Aaron,
Gilman,
yeah, Aaron
Aaron,
Gilman.
Aaron Gilman, and Cassidy, whatever his last name, Mulholland or
Yeah, I don't know his last name. I
Cassidy
really don't.
something. Yeah,
Hanrahan or something.
Hammer. Yeah, it was a
Something like
hula
that.
hand. I don't know,
Houlihan.
hula hand. Um, but we had those two guys. They dropped us off in the city, but I don't know where they went. Did they stay with us at my place that night?
No, they had their own things going. I stayed with
Yeah,
you though.
yeah. So yeah, you stayed with me. You slept on the couch. I'm pretty sure our house was freezing because it always was. Um,
Yeah, there was a couch, but there was a dog there as well. I don't remember his
yeah,
name. He was awesome.
Dunbar.
Yeah, he was
He's a
great.
good dog. He was a great dog.
Yeah.
Um, so we had Dunbar there, kept you company. Um, that next morning, we went to kind of I would say it's a staple in my neighborhood, which is Logan Square. Uh, we went to Cozy Corner. Do you remember that?
I sure do.
That little restaurant, right? It's expanded now. Back then, it wasn't. It it was like connected to a little like convenience store. Since then, they've upped the ante and bought out that convenience store, and they've since expanded. Still
Was
really
it under the
good.
bridge? It was under the L, wasn't it?
Yep, sure was.
Yeah,
Still
the
there
blue
under,
line, I
yeah.
believe.
Yep, exactly, under the California stop. Um,
That's my stop.
so we went, yeah, it sure is. It's been my stop too. Um, we went there, had a nice breakfast. Our flight wasn't until the afternoon, so we had some time to kill. Um,
It was cold AF. That's all I
yep,
remember.
I
I
remember,
mean,
that's
not
right,
all I
'cause
remember, but
you didn't
I'm
pack
not used
enough
to it.
warm clothes. No, I
No, I
forgot.
wasn't used to it.
You were freezing that whole
Freezing.
morning.
Chicago winters are nothing to fuck with, man.
Nope,
They'll
they
get to
sure
you.
aren't.
Yeah.
They sure aren't, and they
So
sure will.
I was happy to get out of Chicago for sure.
Yeah. Had a nice breakfast. Went back to the apartment to gather our stuff, and then we walked back to the L and hopped on it to head to O'Hare for
Right.
our flight directly to Hong Kong.
I'm a fan of direct flights. I do not like to lay over.
Nope.
Uh, yeah, direct, which is a long one, right over the top of the world.
Yep. That was that I thought that was a pretty exciting experience in my opinion to fly. We went over the North Pole, flew over Siberia, which I remember
Right.
was mind blowing. It was something like I had never experienced before. Just nothing but ice everywhere.
Right. It's
Which
it would be, as a pilot, it would be a phenomenon that I would love to experience, because once you go over, say you're flying to true north, 0 degrees north,
yeah.
once you go over the magnetic pole of North Pole, then your compass flips around 180. So if you can
Oh,
imagine, when you're going right over the top.
Yeah.
And it's the weird phenomenon that not a lot of pilots get to see.
Experience.
Because,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a helicopter pilot. There's no helicopters up there. Only, commercial airliners get to go over it. But if you're a navigator, if you're in the jump seat, then you get to watch your compass flip 180, which would be, I don't know, to me, that would be
That seems
really cool to see.
kind of wild, right? Just all of a sudden.
It would be trivial. Yeah, imagine that. Because it's like you're heading north, and then you get to, there's no more north. There's just no more.
Which doesn't make sense to me. That's not something I can comprehend.
Well, it's because nobody's been there. I mean, you can go,
Right.
I believe you can go to Antarctica and go to true south. But true north is almost impossible. It's just, ice on water. That's about it. Which is great to look out because the sun was always up at the North Pole at that time.
Yeah, we didn't really see it in December.
I can't remember because it would be down. I don't know. Either way, I remember it was the morning time, and all we just saw was these ice plains that were just sea ice. There's no land, of course.
Right. Yeah, that was very, very trippy. And then as we kept going, flew over Siberia, over mainland China. I do remember the last little bit of our flight was something like 14 hours or something. I want to say 13 to 14 hours.
Yeah.
It was something ridiculous. I do remember that. We had a whole row together though. I think we switched halfway through, but nobody was in the middle, so we had a full row to ourselves with 3 seats.
Right.
And we swapped at some point.
There's not a lot of people.
Pretty
There's
sure.
not a lot of tourism to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
In December, right?
Yeah, November.
I don't know.
Yeah. It was right over Thanksgiving because we spent Thanksgiving there.
That's true.
So it was the end of November, which family times for most people. But since we're family, we spent quite a few holidays together.
Quite a few
on the road, actually, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's better than spending it with my actual family.
I'm glad that I'm better than your actual family.
Oh yeah,
that's what it sounds like you're saying.
Nobody likes their actual family. Are you kidding me? Any chance I do, I can get away. Sorry, Mom,
man.
Can't come home for Easter. That plague is hit.
But I do recall that the last half of that trip being pretty rough. I'm sure we probably put on Sunny, because we always watch that on our trips, with a slew of other movies. But the way that trip worked, that flight worked, was we ended up losing an entire day, right?
Yeah, that's how the international dateline works.
Yeah.
But we gain one on the way back.
We gain one on the way back, which...
So you get it back.
You get it. Yeah, you get it back. But we landed in Hong Kong. I'm pretty sure. So I was reviewing. I try to take tedious notes through all of our trips and like all of my trips as well. I hit a stroke of luck and found a transit card for public transportation system, which we ended up using quite a bit, a lot more than I thought. I don't believe like Uber was that big in late 2014.
It wasn't, but it still existed, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if it made it to. So China was. I'm
gonna be doing that all day. So.
I know. Me too. I'm gonna find myself in it. But China was just a strange place in general because nothing operated as it did in anywhere else in the world, really. Like social media. Remember, we had to use Bing Maps. We couldn't even use Google Maps or Yahoo Maps. We had to use Bing Maps, which
that's right.
Don't ever use them if you
Bing is terrible.
Bing. Yeah, that was a rough one.
Yeah, the censorship was like very apparent right up front. Like social media was not a thing. Facebook wasn't a thing. I think only now it's becoming a thing. But everything is still highly, highly censored.
Yeah,
and it definitely was back then.
It was. We had a couple tough times there when the maps wouldn't load, and when it would load, there was like it just wasn't updated entirely. So there were streets that weren't on the map. streets that we needed to get to places that we were supposed to be going. But we ended up making it to that first hostel in Hong Kong, which was pretty sweet. I remember there being a lot of white and a lot of neon.
Yes, very tacky.
Very tight. We had to go. It was like the third or fourth level up or something like that.
Yeah,
remember, we had to go up a bunch of stairs to get up to it.
Right.
And I think because we were so exhausted that day, we just we landed in the evening, but we needed to just keep that going. So I think we just dropped our bags and then ran out for some food and just a quick stroll around to find whatever it is that, to kind of get our bearings, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember what we did there? What happened? Anything specific?
I remember the streets were in somewhat of disarray because all these, much like today, actually, the riots were going on. Do you remember we got there right after the riots?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
What was that? Was that because that was
same
Hong
thing.
Kong? It was just they're trying to separate themselves from mainland China, right?
Yep, it's the same thing that's happening today. It's history repeating itself. But in 2014, they were like, "Hey, China, we're not yours," and then government of China is like, "Absolutely, you are ours."
That's right. I forgot.
And then the people were rioting in the streets. So we had gotten there the day after there was this big skirmish, and then the streets were not in the best order, and everything was very. There was a lot of. It was very tense. I remember that.
Yeah. Yes, I do. I had forgotten about that part, actually.
That's why you got me.
That's right. That is why I got you. So, yeah, we just found a restaurant, right? I'm pretty sure we were starving. So the first thing we just hopped into one of the first restaurants we could find, which I do remember being particularly fancy, and one that was kind of bizarre for us to show up at in our travel day attire. Do you remember that at all? It was very I do remember it being particularly ritzy, just starting the trip off right. Let's have a little bit of luxuriousness before this kind of gets into whatever it's going to get into. So we had a meal. I think we kind of planned out our day. This is where you introduced the concepts of Christian Day and Jordan Day.
Yeah,
do you remember this?
Right. For sure.
You had a full day planned out. I had no idea what was going to be happening, where it was going to go, what was up. But the next day was your day.
Yeah.
So
I still like this kind of plan. I love to plan days around stuff that I like, and it's good for friends to see. Friends have fun usually if you do stuff you want to do and say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I like to do. But
yeah.
I mean, what you and I like are very similar, so I wasn't worried.
Right.
Yeah, and I had the next day, I believe.
Yeah. Do you remember what it was? Because there were
the first thing I can remember from the day was the big Buddha.